The story begins in the heart of West Africa, where the red earth meets towering glass buildings and ancient traditions quietly watch modern ambition rise. In a city that never sleeps, power ruled everything, and at the center of that power stood a man feared and admired by all. His name was Kola Adeyemi, a rich CEO whose wealth controlled industries and whose silence controlled people. But behind his success lived a wound that never healed. Before the money, before the empire, Kola had a family, a powerful one, until a corruption scandal destroyed them. His father died in shame, his mother followed in grief, and the name Adeyemi was dragged through dust. Kola survived with one promise carved into his heart: revenge. My name is Zainab Okoye. I was born into a family that taught dignity over wealth and patience over pride. I never imagined my life would cross paths with a man like Kola Adeyemi, not as love, not as destiny, but as punishment. When he chose to marry me, the world celebrated. They called it a union of power and beauty. They did not know it was a weapon. On our wedding night, surrounded by gold and drums, he leaned close and told me the truth in a voice colder than steel. I was not his wife. I was his reminder. My family name was the name he blamed for his pain, and marrying me was his way of winning a war that had already destroyed too many lives. The mansion I moved into was beautiful, but beauty without warmth becomes a cage. Servants bowed, walls shined, and everything obeyed his command, except his heart. He never touched me, never asked me how I slept, never cared how silence slowly broke me. I existed beside him, not with him. At night, I heard his restlessness. Sometimes he stood on the balcony until morning, staring at the city as if it owed him answers. I tried to hate him, but hate is difficult when you see brokenness hiding behind cruelty. So instead of breaking, I endured. African women are raised on stories of survival, and I carried those stories in my blood. I learned when to speak and when to stay quiet. I learned how to protect my soul inside a marriage built on vengeance. And slowly, without asking permission, I built something of my own. I started helping women society had forgotten. Widows, young girls, mothers with empty hands but strong hearts. I did it quietly in my mother's name, expecting nothing in return. That was the moment he began to notice me, not as revenge, but as a woman. One night, he questioned me, asking if charity could erase my family's sins. I looked him in the eyes without fear and told him kindness was the only wealth that survived death. Something cracked inside him that night. He began coming home earlier, sitting across from me in silence, watching instead of accusing. The anger that once filled his presence slowly made room for something unfamiliar: regret. Love came to him late and uninvited. During a storm, when darkness filled the mansion and thunder shook the walls, he reached for my hand for the first time. His voice trembled as he admitted he no longer knew how to stop being angry. And in that moment, against all reason, I loved him. But love delayed carries consequences. The truth arrived like a curse. Documents long hidden revealed that my father was never the enemy. He had tried to protect the Adeyemi family. The real betrayal came from within, from the uncle who stood beside Kola while quietly destroying everything. Revenge had blinded him, and he had destroyed the wrong life. When Kola discovered the truth, the empire meant nothing. He knelt before me, a powerful man reduced to regret, apologizing with a voice too late to heal the damage. He begged not to lose me, but some wounds do not bleed. They live quietly inside the soul. I told him the truth gently. I needed love when he needed revenge, and now we were both empty. I left the mansion at sunrise, not because love was gone, but because self-respect mattered. African tales do not always end in joy. Sometimes they end with wisdom. Years later, people said Kola Adeyemi changed, that power softened him, that regret humbled him. They said he never married again. As for me, I found peace. And remember this story not as a romance, but as a warning. Revenge may satisfy the ego, but love delayed becomes regret. And sometimes the heart learns its lesson when it is already too late.